You're watching NextTech Insider with me, Shivvy Jervis. Now, in this episode, we're going to engage in some very insightful banter with two people that are going to throw some light on how we're going to be able to boost sustainably the tech talent pipeline in an industry that still is seeing quite a lot of gender imbalance. With me today are Steve of Empiric and Ellie of Atos. Thank you for joining me. So guys, no pressure, but I want to start by setting the context a little, right? The fact that we're still sat here talking about this says something. I mean, it's positive, because what you don't speak about, you can't quantify or measure, but it also means perhaps there's still an issue. Ellie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. So I work with a lot of our clients developing strategies for the future and how can we use technology to improve it. And so really recently I was at a workshop talking about motorways. How can we improve them in the future? And I was sat in a room, there was 30 attendees, of which there were 2 women. And that is who is defining what the motorways will be like in the future. Now, we're not going to get a representative opinion with only two people of that gender.
I'm talking about smart cities of the future,
exactly.
Very defining kind of
exactly.
area. Yeah.
And I mean, technology is also moving at such a pace that politics and policies aren't necessarily keeping up with it.
It's not something that's going to be changed overnight. I think the encouraging thing is there is more being done. There's some great initiatives being done nationally by some great people.
Including you guys at Empiric, and I'm going to ask you that in a second.
Shameless plug. But there's so much being done, and there's so many different initiatives, which is great to see. I think in some cases there's lots of individual initiatives where actually I think some things could pull together better. There's a lot of kind of siloed efforts that actually, if people do pull together more, it's going to have a bigger impact.
So more joined up approach. And also, I'm guessing across stakeholders, so you spoke about policy. So I'm assuming we're thinking then about organizations, initiatives, but government as well, educators rallying together to help change the playing field a little bit. So I'm curious, now we're talking about, let's say, girls, 14 plus, or women, let's say 18 plus, irrespective of age. Let's get a sense of where does that first catalyst or spark come from? So there may not be this one defining moment, let's say, that a light bulb goes off in someone's head and they think, this is what I want to do. But in terms of, is it the parents or the educators that influence this young person to then at least consider perhaps something like IT and swapping, home science for technology or engineering? We
know how to become a doctor, a lawyer, and we know what that role is and how to get there. But tech is such a fat phrase but what is tech? Well, it can be being a developer, it can be being a project manager, it can be being a designer, it could be anything of many things.
I never wanted to go into tech, taking my own story. My dad sat me down at 15, 16, he's in IT as well. He said to me, Ellie, you'd be great, project manager, IT. And I just turned around, classic teenager, goes, don't want to be like you, Dad. And I was convinced I was going to go off, I was going to do sales and marketing, and that's what I sort of pursued at uni. And I did an internship as part of that, and it was doing marketing at a small software company. And I got involved in selling solutions, and by the end of it I was like, I'm selling all these great ideas, but how do I know it's happening? So I was like, maybe project management would be interesting. So I was lucky enough, I got that opportunity, and that's then what I did when I graduated. I was like, Dad, you were right, I actually really enjoy this.
And also, what's a tech company? Most times when we've engaged with sort of presentations at schools, you get kids put their hands up and they say, yeah, I want to work for Microsoft, or I want to work for Amazon, or I want to work for Google.
Got it.
As if that's the only tech company out there. Whereas, actually, any industry, what we say is don't look at tech in isolation, blend it with your passion and it can get you anywhere, because there's fashion tech, there's wearables, there's so many sort of avenues to get into.
Yes.
But kind of bring it back to where, I think, obviously the schools have a huge part to play. In terms of actually having it, that it's not just the skills, it's where they can take you and what those jobs are. Parents play a big part in encouraging and supporting, because we still have, with the NextTech Girls Initiative, have quite a few parents that come sometimes be the blockers of, we don't want them to do that. We prefer them to go to the kind of stereotypical safe bets of, well, go and do a work experience at a primary school. And there's nothing wrong in that in terms of we still need primary school assistants, but it's almost that de facto of, oh, you're a girl of this age, go and do this.
Pigeonholing
Yeah.
them early on. And
Yeah.
as you say, if as a parent you don't have experience or exposure to technology, it might not occur to you
Yeah.
that that's something viable, and to think of a more kind of safe go to traditional fields.